When we lived in Atlanta, the comedian Jeff Foxworthy went to the same church we did, and I always got a kick out of his "you might be a redneck" routine. In case you're wondering whether or not you're a redneck, Jeff Foxworthy gives us some ways to figure that out. You remember how it goes, right? Well, why don't we give a few a try this morning? Now, Steve, I know you're a car guy, so this first one's for you. All right, are you ready? If your wife says, "Come and move this transmission so I can take a bath," you might be a redneck. If you have a complete set of salad bowls and they all say Cool Whip on the side, you might be a redneck. If an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger changed your life, you might be a redneck. If you've stared at a can of orange juice because it said concentrate, you might be a redneck. See, in case you're wondering whether or not you're a redneck, these are some very helpful things to know, aren't they? It's kind of like a redneck litmus test, isn't it? Do you suppose there's a litmus test for being a minister? Let's go back to the campfire for a minute. I mean, how would you know if folks could smell the smoke on you or whether you might be standing outside the fire? Well, let's take a page out of Jeff Foxworthy's litmus test, shall we? If the people in your office don't even know you're a follower of Jesus, you might be standing outside the fire. If visitors to your home can't tell that Christians live there, you might be standing outside the fire. If your children go to someone else for godly wisdom, not including Steve, you might be standing outside the fire. If you've never joined a Christian small group, you might be standing outside the fire. If you spent more on dinner last night than you plan on putting in the offering plate this morning, you might be standing outside the fire. If people are shocked and amazed when you show up to volunteer at church, you might be standing outside the fire. If you think going on a mission trip is for Bible beaters and old retired folks, you might be standing outside the fire. If you make up excuses so you don't have to go visit a friend in the hospital or in jail, you might be standing outside the fire. If today is the first time you've been in church since Easter, you might be standing outside the fire. If you're more concerned about what that panhandler is going to do with the dollar you just gave him than the opportunity you had to impact his life with a kind word, you might be standing outside the fire. If you've never prayed with someone that's hurting, you might be standing outside the fire.